Today I'm going to show you how to never get tricked or manipulated into doing other people's work again. The secret is to know how to ask the right questions. I'm going to show you how to do that today. Are you ready? All right, so there you are, minding your own business, and somebody who's a known manipulator comes up to you at work. You know, you're minding your own beeswax, and they come up and they say something like,
"Hey, Dan. Hey, you don't have any kids, do you? Hey, Dan, you're not doing anything tonight, are you? Hey, Dan, you don't have any dogs at home, do you? Hey, Dan, you're not on any government watch list, are you?"
They are about to try and manipulate you or pressure you or trick you into doing something that you're not comfortable doing. But how do you get out of it while looking like a team player at work? All you need to do to stop that pattern, because remember that it is our pattern, all you need to do to stop it is just to know what else to do. And remember that a manipulator doesn't just come in and say,
"Hey, Dan, I don't want to stay late tonight to finish my job. So could you stay late tonight to finish my job?"
They don't come out and say that, right? If they did, it'd be easy to say, "Yeah, I don't think so. Good luck with that." What manipulators do is they start asking you questions so that by the time they drop the bombshell on you, they've already set you up. When somebody starts asking you these questions, remember, manipulators are similar to challengers, which we're going to be getting to as well in this module. This, by the way, is taken from my new master course, module number 5, How to Stand Up for Yourself at Work. And this is not just for work, this is for everybody. When people start to ask you questions that you know are part of a manipulative pattern, don't answer them. Ask them questions in return. So many times, especially at work, when you find yourself in a situation that you're taken off guard and you don't really know what to do, that is exactly why any savvy communicator, especially professional communicator, needs to have in his or her arsenal a great power phrase list. And power phrase lists, especially for professional savvy communicators, are going to include things like tactical questions such as these. So tell me, John, what do you think Mary would say if you asked her the same thing? Simply be clear and direct in our communication is one of the most difficult things that we could possibly do. When you do it, you take people off guard. And when you call other people on their behavior by clearly stating what they're doing and asking, "Is that what you're trying to do?" Or, "Why would you do that? Why would you ask me a question that you know would make me feel uncomfortable?" And if you need a moment to gather your thoughts, take a breath. Look around. Say, "I need a moment." I'm not sure how I feel about that, so I'm going to need some time before I answer that. That is always your prerogative as a savvy communicator. So remember, get your questions ready. By the way, always use their name. It gives you one more moment to gather your thoughts, to center. Don't tilt your head to the side. Tilt your head forward, look them straight in the eye, shoulders back, and use their name appropriately. Most of the time it's going to be at the beginning of the sentence, but you'll see how sometimes it's more appropriate actually at the end of the sentence. Always use their name. And when you use their name, try to nod your head a little bit at the time you use their name. So for example, Jane, just a little nod, like, "Jane, I see you. I'm on to you. I'm in this moment. You're not taking me off guard. I'm letting you know I am here with you, and I'm calling you out on your behavior right now." Remember what you're there for, because you should have already gone through a module through any of my training, whether it's this course or another course. You should have already made your personal compass so that you know why you're there. Reflect on that in that moment in time. Take just a moment, because my purpose is not to teach them a lesson. My purpose is to learn lessons, and I'm going to learn one right now on how to stand up for myself. And if you know me, you know it's paramount. The first thing I want to make clear that I'm doing is communicating in a loving way to you, because there's nothing that I have to say that I cannot say in a loving way, because that is not about you. That is about me. If I have the biggest jerk in the office that's manipulating me every single day, the way that they talk to me and try to manipulate me and communicate with me, that is about them. How I respond to you, that is about me. And this is all a lesson for me, about me. The lesson that I'm constantly trying to learn is, how can I be a more kind, compassionate, loving communicator? And especially with difficult people. I want to remember that. I have a purpose here. And the purpose is not to prove anything to you. The purpose might, however, be to prove something to me. And that is, I want to prove just how loving I can be with those who are treating me with the most lovelessness that they can possibly muster up. And remember, one of our principles that we talked about in the 9 principles, remember the opposite of weakness. If you're worried about sounding weak or looking weak, the opposite of weakness is not strength. The opposite of weakness is love. And I think you know that, even if you haven't gone through the 9 principles. So I want to keep that in mind right at the forefront. That's going to be covered in my making my personal compass, going through my principles. That's all leading up to this moment. Everything is leading up to this moment. Everything that you've done and I've done up until this point has led up to this moment right here. So I want to have prepared for this a little bit. Part of preparing for this is keeping my flashcard out. I want to keep that flashcard out either in front of me, on my desk. I want to keep it out. Maybe it's in my day planner, if you still use those. It could be maybe in my tablet, that on the back cover of my tablet. Remember, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be giving you a new flashcard every day for 7 days to work on. This particular flashcard that we're using today is going to be with these power phrases, and these are all power phrase questions to ask in response to challenge questions or manipulating questions, manipulators, challengers, and they all have to do with being assertive and professional and at work. For that, we need a good list of questions. Remember, you can print out this flashcard so that if you're dealing with this situation, memorize these phrases, be ready, and then bang, shoot. I'm curious, John, why are you asking me that? And remember, again, body language is always key. When you want to ask somebody a question and let them know, I'm ready for your answer and I'll be waiting for it. You want to lean in as you're finishing up with the question. Not before it, but at the end of it. So, I'm curious, John, why would you ask me that? I'm sure you're not trying to embarrass me, are you, John? No, that might not be your word. What do you think somebody might be doing to you? I'm sure you're not trying to make me feel uncomfortable, embarrass me, humiliate me, shame me. What is the word that you would put in that sentence? Please put it in the comments below. And if you just leave one word, I will know what you're talking about, this sentence. You wouldn't want me to do anything that I'm uncomfortable doing, would you, John? Now, with that question, you'll see I put their name at the end because I'm letting you know, after I asked you, you don't want me to do something that I'm not comfortable doing, would you, John? When you ask somebody a question like that, you don't want me to do anything illegal, would you, John? You wouldn't want me to do anything immoral. You wouldn't want me to do anything that would put your and my job in jeopardy, would you, John? Now, those questions aren't necessarily ones I would ask somebody for a simple manipulation, but you'll notice how when you ask somebody a question like that, you wouldn't want me to do anything that would get both of us in trouble, would you, John? When you ask somebody a question like that, put their name at the very end, not, John, you wouldn't want me to do anything that would get us in trouble, would you? It's very different from, you wouldn't want me to do anything that would get us in trouble, would you, John? It's letting them know, I see what you're doing. I'm calling you on it. Then the very last name that is going to be attached to this deed that you are requesting be done is yours. I'm sure you're not trying to manipulate me, are you, John? I'm sure you're not trying to make me uncomfortable, are you, John? By the way, what is the thing that people ask you to do that you're not comfortable doing? How are people trying to manipulate you at work? Please leave me a comment below. I'm sure you're not trying to guilt me into doing something that I otherwise wouldn't do. Are you, John? And when people take you off guard and ask you to do things, try to manipulate you, say inappropriate things, there are so many situations in which all you need are a few good questions to throw that ball right back into their court and then wait to see how they answer it. When you, instead of being nasty or negative, are simply upfront, clear, and direct in your communication. That is not only going to take people off guard, it will put them on guard, and everyone else who's watching on guard, that this is a new day. You have found the words to stand up for yourself and stand your ground at work, at home, and everywhere else. Remember to leave your comments, like, subscribe, and share this video with other people who you think might need it, because it is a new day, and a lot of people need some new words. If you keep communicating the same way as you communicated yesterday, you will have the same experience as you had yesterday. You want some new experiences? You got to get some new words. And maybe someday we could all communicate in a more compassionate, mindful, loving way. It all starts with one conversation. So that is what we're here to do, to show the whole world what someone who loves themselves communicates like. one conversation at a time. If you like that video, you might get even more out of the next one, so make sure to check that out after you have subscribed to this channel, and make sure to stop by my website to check out some of our premium resources, and I hope to see you there on the inside.